Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Happy Hour in the Land. I missed you. I just want to say that first and foremost. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming here and listening to us. And I wanted to say this is a place for all Cleveland sports fans all around all around that want to talk about Cleveland sports. This is a therapy session for you. We can talk, we can commiserate, we can have our liquid libations. By the way, I'm Gomer. That's the professor. Welcome. And of course, like I said, we have the liquid libations. Professor, what do you have today?
Well, today I'm going with my classic passion fruit margarita with Lalo tequila. Lalo tequila is one of the most natural ingredients tequila out there. And today, though, I'm putting it in my famous Morgan Brewery glass, which is a great brewery out in St. Louis. I lived out there or near there for a couple of years.
I have my Thirsty Dog Brewing, the Blood Orange IPA. I've had that before. I love it. It's really good.
I was going to say, you had that before, man. You must like it.
I do. I do.
God knows we've been gone for a while. Things have been happening in Cleveland sports. Go a million one things to talk about. We can't talk about them all today, but I know you got some passion, man. You got some topics. Tell us what's on your mind today, bud.
Well, first off, drink responsibly if you're drinking with us, and you don't have to drink alcohol. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. But first off, I've been gone a while. I was on spring break, and then last week was packed full of sports. Opening days left and right. Baseball. We were jam-packed. Like I said in the beginning, we missed you guys. I'm glad you're here. And in the meantime, since we left, we do have a letter. If you ever want to reach out to us, happyhourintheland@gmail.com. Subscribe, follow us at all the places down below.
And we're getting viewer mail. Is that right, Go? We're getting viewer mail?
Yeah, viewer mail. And this is from Allie. I won't say the last name. But this is from Allie. And she says, I enjoy watching the show and hearing about Northeast Ohio sports. However, when it comes to baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals are my favorite team. While they aren't in the same division, it's awesome when they get to play the Guardians. Last year, the Cardinals came into the land and swept the Guardians, ending the last game with an embarrassing 7-0 score. Are you guys prepared for this week's matchup? What could be the differences this year? Have you guys thought about what liquid libations will help soothe the sting in case of another loss?
My goodness. Those are all great questions. But notice the third one, I think, is proof that Allie's watching our show. Because there's always something to drink to. And yes, I've got many different options in case the Cleveland sports team lets me down. So but that's the third question. What was the first one?
Well, the first one, are the Guardians prepared for the rematch next week? And what could be the difference?
Man, I've been out in St. Louis when the Tribe was out there. It's a gorgeous stadium. Absolutely gorgeous. I had a great time, but I'm pretty sure I did see them lose out there. The Cardinals seem to have our number the last few times. So what will make the difference for you, Go?
Well, the Cardinals are one of those teams, right? There's one of those teams that I just never discount, right? Like they're just always seem to be good. They always have something going on. And like I said, I've been out to Busch Stadium 2 and Busch Stadium 3. Both Busch Stadium 3 is much better, which is the most recent stadium, of course. But I was out there. I got to see Ozzie Smith play. I saw my first inside the park home run. It was hit past hard hitting Mark Whitten. He dove for the ball, missed it, and the guy has inside the park home run. But I got to see Tony Gwynn out there play against Ozzie Smith, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. So are the Guardians prepared for their matchup this week? I do think that they are. I like I said, the Cardinals always a good team. Guardians are 8-5. Cardinals are 7-5 right now. Both young teams. I do like the Cardinals. I like JJ Weatherholt. I like Mason Wynn. I like those guys a lot. And so I think they have a lot to go on. I think Jordan Walker, has 5 home runs right now. So it's a good young team. But what I'm going to be drinking to soothe my liquid libations is champagne. That's what I'm drinking. I'm kidding. But it looks like, trying to forecast out, looks like Gavin Williams is going to be pitching against them. I think that, he's really good right now. And I think we're going to win that game, whatever game he pitches. We're going to see Slade pitch against them, and probably Cantillo maybe. Those two games kind of think are up in the air, but I'm hoping at least we win the one with Gavin. But right now I'm really thinking that it's going to be the Guardians coming on top. Anything can happen in baseball, right? Any given day. But what could be the difference? Chase Stillwater.
Oh, ooh,
that guy's on fire. He's on fire.
Well, isn't that what we're talking about? That's where I was going to go, right, is streaks, right? Cleveland, I know they're doing pretty good right now, but traditionally they don't really kind of wake up until after the All-Star game. We already talked about our 5 center fielders, you know what I mean, to try and get the young guys going. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Guardians as well, because I think they've got a more holistic plan on how to get through a long season. 162 games, man. That's a lot of games, right? And I know we got strong pitching. But young guys, and hey man, you and I saw, and hopefully everybody at home saw the Guardians, right, make that incredible run to get into the playoffs, right? And I just think maybe some of our young guys have got a little bit of that playoff feel, where I agree with you, the Cardinals, traditionally very good, right? In fact, weren't they good for like 3 decades ago, right, when Tony La Russa was out there and all that? So traditionally, yeah, they're very good, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Guardians as well. Great question, Allie. But as much as love St. Louis, I'm afraid Gomer and I are predicting that you will need the liquid libation to soothe the final score.
Reach out to us if you have any thoughts or comments. happyhourinthelane@gmail.com. We'll be happy to talk about them on the air and go from there. Thanks, Allie, for the question. It was great. Loved it.
Now, Gomer, did you answer the liquid libation question?
Champagne. Drinking champagne.
Nailed it.
After our victory.
Victory bubbles. Early on.
If not champagne, maybe more blood orange IPA. We'll see.
Hey, man, you're a fan.
But, talk about the Guardians, though. They've gotten off on a hot streak to 8-5 with the schedule we've had. Coming back on the West Coast trip, 4-3 on the West Coast trip. Again, took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. I couldn't be more excited because, we haven't played the teams like the White Sox or the Royals. Or not the Royals. The Twins in our division. We haven't played those guys yet. So with this record, I'm really excited. And like I said, it doesn't get any easier because now we play the Braves. We play the Cardinals. Hopefully one day we'll get the down part of our schedule, but right now it's all been up, and they're doing good. They're doing good.
Absolutely, should be good. And like I said, Tribe normally doesn't kick in until after the All-Star game. Wouldn't it be great if this year we had a nice April, maybe even a bit of May to build that foundation, right? So we're not always catching up, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, and hopefully some of these other players besides Chase will kind of get going. They did in the last game. They scored 10 runs, but Chase, of course, I know there are 2 RBIs because he had his first double off the wall. Hopefully some of these other guys can get going. Right now, so far the season's been typical Guardians baseball. Right, our pitching's holding them down. We're scratching out enough to get the wins, except for yesterday when we scored the 10 runs. But that's what the typical Guardian season.
Exactly, exactly. Hopefully, if you make it to the stadium, you get one of those where they're up by 10. I like close games, but I'm not going to lie, Gomer. If I'm going to go spend some money to see a game, have a dog or 2, I'm okay with the Tribe scoring tons of runs. I love close games as long as we win, but man, go ahead, give me 10 runs, and that burger and dog, that dog and beer will probably taste even better.
Well, and just one more thing too about the Guardians is I wondered if you were interested because Gabriel Arias got hurt, got put on the DL, and they called up Juan Brito. So I was wondering how you felt about that because a lot of people out there were wondering why not Travis Bazzana, and they called up Juan Brito instead.
Yeah, I was a little curious about that, but didn't that come down, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't that come down to, again, you know how the Guardians try to do that thing with they try to keep him in minor league for a really long time so they get him an extra year? I thought that's what it was, but maybe I got that wrong.
No, I think you're right. They of course didn't come out and say that. I do think that's one of the things that they're waiting for, and that's why that happened. So a lot of fans were upset about it, but Juan Brito's coming in so far. He's hot. He's hitting. He's doing really good, and I think Bazana's time's coming. And it just sucked because Arias was actually doing pretty good. He messed up a couple times, but he had struck out a few times, but had 2 home runs, had a big hit on the opening day before he got hurt. So it was a little disappointing, but Brito's coming through, and we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, and a perfect example of what I was talking about streaks, right? This is the beginning of the season. You already got some people hurt. Hey, just don't get too far behind. Again, I'm never worried. I'm not really that worried about it because in July, right, that's when the Tribe seems to kick it up. And, right, what was that, 22 games, 23 games? It was about a decade or so ago, right? And they beat the Yankees like 22-0 or something like that.
Oh, I
think that was in July.
I have the picture of that scoreboard. I took a picture of that scoreboard. I have it somewhere.
And if you go into the Indians gift shop, I think they always have a framed thing for that 22. You know what I mean?
They should. But it's like I said, it's been a crazy week. Like I said, opening days left and right. And one thing I just wanted to talk about too is we had this opening days, and just from the beginning of the season, I've been frustrated with MLB just in general. And it's been hard. It's been hard, and I just don't think that the MLB quite understands the fans. So I just wanted to take a second to kind of talk about that, and talk about MLB is just disconnected. And I love baseball. The game of baseball is just great, and I think that there is some sort of romantic. Why can't you? How can you not be romantic about baseball? Like the famous line from Moneyball. I feel that way. I feel like that's great, but I just think the MLB just doesn't cash in on that. We saw the World Baseball Classic, and again, I'm afraid that they're not going to cash in on the World Baseball Classic when I think they have the opportunity to. But coming off the opening day, I'm just a little concerned because they had opening night, right? They're trying to make this big spectacle about opening night. They had one game on Netflix. That kind of made me mad because not everybody has Netflix. Why wouldn't you want to get that game out to everyone, or at least as many people as you can? And especially, what if you were a Yankees fan and I forgot who they played, but you have to get Netflix to watch your team's opening day. Like, that's just disappointing. And when it comes to the Tribe or Guardians or Indians, however, whatever you want to call them, I'm fine with you. Whatever you want to call them. Out of our first 4 games, you had to have 3 different subscriptions to watch the Guardians, because I think they were on Apple TV once, they were on Peacock once, and then of course whatever the other subscription, a lot of people can get them on AT&T or whatever. I paid the $99 so I can watch them on MLB TV, but you have to have 3 different subscriptions just to watch their first series. And like I've talked about before, how I just think it's disappointing that and I don't think it's the MLB. I do think it was Seattle, but first of all, they put them in Seattle, and then you put opening day at 10:00. That's great, but it's so hard for Cleveland fans to celebrate that opening day because it's at 10:00. We have to work in the morning.
Right.
I'm not staying up till 1 a.m. to watch. I mean, I probably did. No, I don't think I did that actually, but just, I mean, it's stuff like that. What they need to do is have an opening day, not opening night, opening day, and have every baseball game on every channel, whatever, like they do for March Madness, have like 18 channels and just have all these games playing at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
I'm so glad that you said that. And I've been holding back, right? But that's exactly where I was going. I get it, MLB. You're trying to be football, but here's the reality, MLB. You're not the NFL. So one game, we're not all tuning into it. And that's exactly where I was going to go. Hey, how about 2 or 3 games at 8 o'clock, not 10 o'clock? And definitely leading up to it. It's opening day. Owners, you can afford a couple of day games. You know what I mean? Remember, that's why they went tonight, right? Just to get more tickets. You can afford a couple of day games. And you could make a full day out of it. Think about it. While they're, in between games, they're talking about the 2 or 3 that they already did and versus the ones that are coming up and so forth, so on, versus just that one game at 8, or unfortunately for the Tribe fans out there, 10 o'clock at night. I couldn't agree with you more. That it's too late. and trying to have one game on at the time. I mean, but you're not football. I'm sorry. And you don't need to do it like that. You got to play 162 games, right? So you can put a lot of baseball on that opening day. Here's one for you, Goem. How about 2 days? How about 2 days of, right? It's 3 1 o'clock games, 3 4 o'clock games, 3 8 o'clock games. That's day one, right? And then the next day, 3 or 4 1 o'clock, right? So you kind of, what if you got like 2 days worth of nonstop baseball? As long as it's not on a weekend, right? That'll make any weekday better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, yeah, but I think if they have one day where they can just have a celebration, like they can probably have a parade somewhere, if you want to have it in New York or whatnot. But of course, like I said, we have opening night with, surprise, surprise, the Yankees. And that's the other thing. I think they understand. I get it. Put the Yankees on, dollars come. I get that. Dodgers. But what I'm just sick of is Yankees and Dodgers, Red Sox. I know the Red Sox haven't been that great lately, but when I'm watching baseball, well, how about this? When I worked for a sports station at one time. We had Sunday Night Baseball on this radio station. And if the Yankees and Red Sox played, guaranteed it was Sunday Night Baseball. So that was back when they played like 19 times. So there was like 7 Sundays that were always Yankees Red Sox. So if that fell on Sunday, guaranteed to have them. If you get to the playoffs and the Yankees and Dodgers are in there, they guaranteed to have the 8 p.m. primetime game. Indians or Guardians, 1 o'clock game if they're not playing the Yankees. And I feel like they're just disconnected. I get it. I understand the dollars that come along with it, that they're going to make more money, more people watching, but grow the game. Like people are finding out about Jose Ramirez now, but they should have found out about him a lot sooner. He should get the spotlight every so often and give the spotlight to these younger kids coming up. Grow the game, because you know what? Judge isn't going to be here forever. Shohei's not going to be here forever. Start focusing on the younger players and grow the game. And I feel like they don't do that. It's always Yankees, Dodgers whenever they have the chance. And like I said, I understand because more people tune in because those are bigger markets. But you know what? You need to grow the game nationally, and I just don't feel like they're doing that.
Well,
like I said, go ahead.
It's a good example of the whole country in general, right? You say grow the game. I couldn't agree with you more, but that would involve putting in an investment now, and those people who put it in may not get to see it, right? And that's all the world is now, is what have you done for me lately, right? If I put in money, I need my immediate return, right? I've got my phone. I want my immediate justification, clarification, everything, right? I want that immediate feedback. And we're not growing the game. And here's one for you. With the prices being the way that they are, right? How much does it cost for a family of 4, right? To go to just to get in, right? And we're not talking $5 for parking here, folks, anymore, right? You're talking a minimum of $20 to park, and then tickets go. What do you think? Don't put me in the bleachers, right? But don't give me the most expensive tickets. What are we talking? $60 a pop?
That might be on the cheap end. And like you said, they have, like we've talked about before, they have specials sometimes where you can get in the lower bowl. But depending on who they're playing, especially if they're playing the Yankees, you're not getting in the lower bowl for less than $100. Like you're paying more than that just to get in the lower bowl, and anything cheaper is nosebleeds or like you said, bleachers.
We actually have that big problem with that here in St. Petersburg, where the Tampa Bay Rays play. I've been down here for a couple of years, and what you're talking about for the TV audiences, we're seeing it even at the ticket prices. Unfortunately, the Tampa Bay Rays will literally charge more money for some of the premium teams like New York, Boston, and of course, believe it or not, you know who's in that list? Cleveland. They will jack up the prices of Cleveland because they know how strong the fan base is down in Florida, because maybe they had too many winners up in Northeast Ohio, right? Yeah. But they know there's a strong Ohio fan base down here. When I worked in Disney 20 years ago and the Atlanta Braves were out there, the Indians would come, and that was one of the biggest sold out spring training games there was. So I'm just saying, I hear you. It's about the bigger markets. It may be getting worse rather than better. And where I was going with that, with the $60 tickets, with the $25 to park, inflation and everything like that, if you don't take the next generation to the games, right? They're not going to get it. It's not the same on TV as being in the park. I know I don't have to tell you that or anybody that's listening at home, but that's how you get the next generation involved, right? You got to take them to the stadium. And at that kind of money, I don't know. Maybe we had to just spend some more tax dollars, right, on a stadium, and maybe the tickets will get cheaper.
Yeah, and actually, and that's a great point, because it was something I've been thinking about for years, because I worked at a like I said, a local sports station. We reached out to the local MLB team and asked for tickets, and they would not give us tickets. And this team was 100 losses. They wouldn't give us tickets. And I'm like, dude, you need to get people in the door, spend money in the concession stands, spend money in the gift shop. You need people in the door to grow your business, and they wouldn't deal with us. And I didn't want to throw out who it was, but it wasn't the Guardians. I say that, but
there you go, folks. It's not the Guardians. Don't worry. Cleveland sports ownership will disappoint you soon, though. I've got to be
in a different way. But we talk about MLB and talk about how I think, like I said, they're just not connecting. They're letting the fans down. Is another avenue is with the MLB and the fans right now. Big time discussion topic is ABS, the automatic balls and strikes system that they have out there right now. And I've been watching it this last week, and I'm gonna say I'm not loving it. It's not the solve all that people think it is. And that's I think what bothers me is that people think it's, oh, we're here, we're good. And maybe that's good because it settles down the unrestfulness, and it kind of gives people less to complain about, which I think is a negative. But it's not really the solve all that I wanted, that people think it is.
Oh yeah, we do have a clip. But before we do play the clip, I was going to say that I hear you on this. I've seen it live in action a few times, and you've been to a couple games. I'm sure you have too. But I haven't heard your experiences yet. But when I've seen it, it was super quick. The guy didn't even step out of the batter's box. He just stood, did the tap on the head. Umpire comes out from around home base, says, we got a review, and striker ball, and then right back to it. So nowhere near what the NFL or the NBA will do. So I did appreciate that. But then I'm not going to lie to our viewers at home. Gomer showed me this clip, and
oh, what a pitch. And Stanton is challenging that. ABS powered by T-Mobile. And they got it right again. The Yankees on fire. And now there is barking from the Yankee.
The official MLB strike zone is a three-dimensional strike zone, from the front of the plate all the way to the back of the plate. But the ABS strike zone is measured from the middle of the plate. So a pitch that was high enough at the front of the zone but dropped when it reached the middle of the plate is a ball under the ABS system.
So, I mean, that kind of explains everything. And that's from Pitching Ninja, by the way. Love the guy. He puts out some great content.
There was a great video where it showed, again, the 3D box. That's what I really wanted people to see at home, is that 3D box where, it was in the strike zone and then it dropped down. No different than a slider, right? Or a curveball that comes out. So, again, you saw it was quick, right? The umpire came out real quick and said, I'm going to challenge it. But as soon as they showed that graph, buddy, it's not accurate. It's not accurate. You're going to get inaccurate calls. You're going to get people depending on the technology, and you're going to lose a bit of the game. I'm sorry. Fix it, and I'm cool. But that right there, what you showed me and what you showed our fans, I'm sorry, man. It's not legit. Get rid of it.
I know, and it's the thing that bothers me too is that, and a lot of umpires came out and basically said that, like, they're uncomfortable with this just because you're telling thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of fans that you were wrong in over 0.1 inches. And I know a lot of people are like, well, so what? Get it right. Like, but you know what? If I did my job and I was off by, I don't know, a little tiny bit, that's not going to go out to thousands of fans saying, hey, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Yeah, he missed it. Now, are we really going to give grief over a 0.1 of an inch? Like, that's so minuscule, how can you blame the guy? If it's that close, I don't blame the guy for missing it. It was that close. Now, we've seen calls where they're very off and the umpire was way off, and that's what it should be for. But when you get a guy of like a sliver of a baseball, 0.1 inches, I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire and be like, oh my God, you suck, But so far, I just want to show you the stats so far, is around 54% of all challenges have come back and are being overturned. So, and there's instances where the umpire has been right. I know the Guardians have been awful so far. They've actually gotten a little bit better. They're 5 for 10. Oh, they're 5 for 15. So they've lost 10 and won 5.
Right. But it's still relatively new going, right? So, yeah. And I think I saw some preseason games where they were challenging it just to see how the system works. You know what I mean? So I hear you. There's not great 5 out of 15, but it's so new. I think that's a part of it. But what you said about being off by that close, I hear you, brother. I agree. Here's the challenge, though. Dollar bills. When it comes to somebody losing his, multi-million-dollar next check or contract, or somebody who doesn't get renewed at all, right? Because he didn't get that one extra hit or that one extra strikeout. How about Vegas, right? And all the gamblers and stuff like that. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying I think this world is obsessed with money and making money and the amount of money that is going to be involved in this. I can see it coming down to that. I hope to God it doesn't. My biggest thing, again, is the time. Remember the NFL in the 80s, folks. If you weren't there, listen up. In the fourth quarter, they would challenge like every other play. And with the last 2 minutes of the game, you've easily got 45 minutes. Easily 45 minutes between all the reviews and the timeouts. And NFL made some changes in the 80s and got rid of that. And then we saw it in basketball. Right now, when we watch the NBA, that last 45 seconds can be 25 minutes or so. So I don't like the fact that it's not accurate. I don't like the fact that what you're sharing with us right now is the cost on the human component of this, and it's just a lot. It's just a lot to overcome.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I'm not one of the guys. I mean, I guess I kind of am. I'm not the guy being like, well, that's just baseball. I mean, I kind of am, because like you're not going to get the ABS in any high school baseball or any youth baseball. There's a lot of baseball being played throughout this country. So I don't know. To me, it is sort of baseball. But you know what? If you do want to throw this in there, like you said, it's quick. But get it right. So like I don't like how like they have this opportunity to do a 3D zone and they don't. And they're just doing this like quick, maybe because it's so quick, they're doing the 2D zone. I just think they need to get it right. But the biggest thing is I want to make sure that all fans are out there are aware of this, and that and we talked about this before, how the umpire strike zone and the ABS strike zone is not the same. So they both can be right? An umpire can be right and the ABS can be right. So I want to make sure people are out there and are aware of that, and not just ragging on the umpires 24/7 because they got something wrong by like 0.1 of an inch. But they might have been right. I don't know. But I just want to make sure I threw that out there and make sure everyone talks about it, knows about it.
Well, it's also 2026, right? Maybe we had to start talking about, mental health now is a subject that's less taboo, right, than when we were growing up. Maybe we ought to start talking about the human component of these sports, like the umpires. The NFL is they're having problems with their NFL, with their referees. And the NFL now is trying to get them to start training replacements, even though it's only April. Because last time, right, they waited until July. It took too long. My gosh, how much money do you owners need to hold on to? You have to have that extra, $1 million? You know what I mean? Rather than share it with the people that make the sport great and make it what it is. I don't know. There's just so much money going around. I really have a hard time that they don't want to pay the refs or the umpires. And to what you're saying about the baseball, hey, don't crucify this guy if one system says it's a strike and the other system says it's a ball. Then you cannot critique the guy who's making the call. If this system it's this and this system it's that, well, which system are we doing? And I think if you continue to use it with that film that we showed him, then baseball is choosing incorrectly. We have changed the strike zone.
Yeah. So we'll talk about more of that. They talked about having replay on check swings too, and that I think is going to be worse. And I don't think people realize that's going to be worse because you have to swing more to be considered a swing or a strike.
Right.
So when in the replay system, so that's coming down the way, I think, but not quite yet. So luckily we can wait on that. We can watch it in the minors.
But isn't that the one that you want slow mode? You know what I mean? Every time they check the bat, come on, you got to be like, all right, let's see, did he go all the way around? Where's that bat?
Yeah. But but when they do read the replays in the minors, they had to change where the bat goes for it to be considered a swing, and it's basically crossing the first base line. So instead of coming here, you have to swing out here.
Whoa!
Not many swings go that far. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of balls, and I think a lot of pitchers count on those because they throw the sliders out of the zone, curveballs out of the zone. They want the check swing, and they're not going to get them, and it's going to be an advantage to the batter. But
wow, very interesting, very interesting. So ABS, it's a new system. Surprise, surprise, it's flawed, right? That I'm not surprised, but there's two different strike zones, man.
Yeah,
there's two different strike zones. You can't do that. Sorry.
I don't know. Hopefully, you know what? If they build on this, obviously this is a system we have this year. Hopefully they'll build on it and make it better for years to come. I do like the system now because it's quick, but like I said, it's not 100% correct.
Otherwise, the players are striking in June like 94, right, Gomes?
That's right. We're taking them down. So we have lots of things to talk about coming up. We're going to talk about the Cavs, LeBron. LeBron's made comments. We're going to talk about Miles Garrett, talk about the Browns, talk about that in just a little bit. Want to take a quick break?
Absolutely. Let's do a refill of our wonderful liquid libations. You can see that's mostly ice. And I'll be right back.
All right. This is Happy Hour in the Land. I'm Gomer. That's Professor. We'll be right back. Welcome back, friends, to the show that never ends. This is the Happy Hour in the Land. I'm Gomer. That's the Professor. Thank you again for joining us. We have many more things to talk about. We talked about the Guardians and MLB and ABS and all the good things already. We're going to talk about the Cavs coming up. We're going to talk about the Browns, Miles Garrett. We're going to talk about that coming up. But first, I had to point out my cream stick donut shirt.
In the great state of Ohio, I noticed you got the star right about where Northeast Ohio is. Is that where the store is, or is that just where the Akron Ducks?
That's where the Akron Rubber Ducks play, because they will be the cream stick donuts at some point this season for 1 or 2 games, and they'll be wearing the jerseys. So this is the Rubber Duck shirt that they're going to rebrand for 1 game and be the cream stick donuts. And I thought it was only appropriate that I buy this shirt since this is Body by Cream Stick Donuts.
I was going to say, because you're such a fan, or you have stock, or
I am a fan. Can't you tell?
So, right, be sure to contact them and say that you heard advertising about them on Happy Hour in the Land.
So that's going to be later this year. I'm excited about it. So we're going to see that going on.
Go take pictures when you're there, right? So we can show the audience what their uniforms look like. If they look like giant cream sticks, or
they should. Which side quest here. I don't know how I feel about it yet, because obviously, like I said, the Akron Rubber Ducks are going to be the cream stick donuts at some point this year. But every minor league team now rebrands for 1 or 2 days. Yeah, they were the Akron JoJo's at one time, the Devil Strips, I think, one time, which I have a Devil Strips jersey around here somewhere. But it's fun. But now that every team's doing it once or twice a year, it's I don't know, is it not as cool anymore? I don't know. But I like the cream sticks.
You do appreciate the fact that it's not just one or two teams that are doing it. Like we were talking about baseball, right? There's 4 teams that are always have the money: the Dodgers, Red Sox, New York, right? And now that every minor league team is doing it, only for a day or two. And I mean, we're the cream sticks. I don't know about that other one, but JoJo's, boy, you got me licking my lips there, man. And do they give away donuts and JoJo's on the day?
No, they should. They should. But what's cool about it is that they do something that's regionally kind of good, right? They had they were the Galley Boys last year for Swenson's. They were the White Russian dressing because that's huge barbered in it or something like that. And
barbered in, shouldn't that be fried chicken?
I think it was included in. I think it might have been separate. They did a fried chicken one too.
And this year they're doing the prize is the neck, right? If you win,
save the neck for me, Clark. But they're doing this year. They're doing the Akron chip dippers for the Lawson's chip dip because that's just huge around here.
Okay.
In case you haven't tried Lawson's chip dip, it's really good. So that's going to be their other rebranding for this year. And so I appreciate how they keep it local and regional specific. So I do like that a lot.
Absolutely. Support your local JoJo's and cream stick locations.
Now the Cavs season's almost over. There's only 2 games left in the Cavs season. They have 2 games left, and they play tonight. No, I'm sorry. They play tomorrow. They play the Atlanta Hawks, and then they finish off with the Wizards. Right now, we're sitting in the 4th position. Chances are that we're going to play the Hawks again in the playoffs. If we beat them, especially tonight. But anything can happen. We might be able to move into the 3rd position, but the Hawks then might also slip to the 6th position. So we'd be playing them anyway. So
lots of smoke screens, right? When we play Atlanta here, 2 days, right?
Yeah,
let's have our slam dunk champion shoot a lot of threes, right? Let's do a lot of crazy passes, not give them anything to prep for in case we play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's time to play just a completely different defense. Like just play, we're going to play the 2-3-2 or whatever. I don't know, but
they go back to street ball.
Yeah, man up. Let's go.
Brilliant. Well, 2 games left. We're going into the playoffs. How far do you think we can go? I know you don't have your magic ball. You're getting it polished, right? It's at the shop. But what do you think? How far can we go?
It's going to be interesting once it all irons out to see what the matchups are and who we could possibly play. Being the 4 seed, so we'd probably play the 1 seed earlier than the finals, which would be the Pistons. So that would be that would be the tough matchup. I'd rather see them in the finals, but maybe if we move into the 3 position, maybe that's what will happen. We wouldn't face them until the finals. So maybe that's the reason we got to beat the Hawks and strong and get into the 3 position.
And so you heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. Gomes says, get that 3rd spot, avoid the Pistons, make it to the championship game.
That's right. And heck, the way they've been playing with Harden and everything, and they got a shot. They got a shot, and anything can happen in 7 games.
Anything can happen. And Harden, doesn't he live for I know he's old, right? But doesn't he live for this, right? Doesn't he love the spotlight? Isn't this maybe where, as long as he pretends to play defense?
Historically has not been good in the playoffs and historically has not shown up when the team needs him. So this is his chance to put that to bed and reverse that thought process on him that he can show up and play when the heat's on. Maybe that's what happens.
Well, there you go, Harden. Drink Cleveland hard water, James Harden, and be hard in the playoffs.
But speaking of the Cavs, our favorite Cleveland son, Akron son, I don't know, has come out and made a comment I just wanted to talk about. LeBron James came out and said,
last part, please tell the audience, this last part kills me.
So he said, and I know I don't have the full context here, but he said, a random effing Tuesday in Milwaukee, staying at the effing Hyatt at 41 years old, you think I want to do that shit? being in Memphis on an effing random ass Thursday, I'm not the first guy to even talk about it in the NBA. We're all like, you guys have to move, go over to Nashville. 41 years old is two cities I don't like playing in right now. And I think this is later. This is the follow-up where he says 41 years old, that's two cities I don't like playing in right now. That's Milwaukee and that's Memphis. What's the problem? I don't like going home either. Shit, and I'm from there.
So that last line, I don't like going home either, and I'm from there. So is it cold? Is it that Milwaukee and Cleveland are cold? Or is it because there's nothing to do when it's wintertime?
Just being 41 years old, I feel like he just doesn't care anymore. And it's just something that I just hope that he can take care of, and hopefully he can kind of get back into it and kind of care about what people think about it, because he tried to clarify that he wasn't taking a shot at the city or the people when listing places he doesn't enjoy going to. But you know what? They're going to take offense to it. It's going to happen, especially when you say you don't like going home and I'm from there. First of all, when you left Cleveland the first time, you said, I'm not from Cleveland, I'm from Akron, which I'm still mad about that comment. But I don't know, man. You have to understand how people are going to take that and how they're going to portray that. You're taking a shot at them. And being 41 years old, being the face of the NBA, you got to do better. You got to do better.
Well, I think that's an example, like you said, of people who've just been around for a long time, right? He has, been the chosen one since before he was in the NBA. And maybe he did let it slip, and I like the fact that you read the part. It's like, what's the problem with that? I don't like staying. What he bashed the hotel. That's why I thought he was bashing hotels the whole time until he said, shit, I'm from there, going home. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with Cleveland?
Comes here. Or you think he went. I guess he has a hotel. But yeah, he says, I'm not talking about the city like the people in Memphis. I don't like staying at the Hyatt Centric. What's wrong with that? But then why do they have to move to Nashville? Why can't they just go to get a different hotel? Or, you're rich enough. Go to a hotel.
Goem, I got an idea for our Fortune 500. We're going to build a kick-ass hotel in those two cities. And then we'll advertise to the NBA. Hey, come here. Come to Memphis. Come here. We've got, you know what I mean? And maybe we'll make it one of those hotels, right? With like the amusement park inside or a water slide or something like that. Obviously, there's a need. Trademark happy hour in the land, in case anybody else loves this idea.
But the biggest conversation that always happens in the NBA regarding LeBron is LeBron versus Jordan, right? And
sure. Who's
better? And I'll tell you one thing. I always had a hard time with Jordan because he beat the Cavs for so many years. So I had such a hard time. But looking back on him, man, he had such a knowledge about his brand, about what he wanted to portray, and how his brand was him. Like, he didn't say anything out of ordinary. He didn't say anything controversial. He just played and really focused on building the brand and selling sneakers and just getting the most money he can. And that's something that's just not on LeBron's mind. LeBron has made great business decisions when it comes to money and his contracts and stuff like that. But when it comes to his brand and how people see him, he's been awful. He's been terrible. And just by that, people are like, championships. Of course, Jordan won 6 and LeBron's not going to get there. And I think that is a big factor. But when you talk about brand, Jordan wins every day over LeBron.
I agree with you about Jordan and the brand and never rocking the boat. And that's where I want to give LeBron props. I hear what you're saying, Goem, but you know what? When I heard you speaking just then, I heard you say African-American athletes that are at the absolute top of the game.
I didn't say anything.
LeBron.
I didn't bring a color at all.
Well, let me do it then. Because I'm comparing LeBron James to people like Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? 3 of the major icons during the civil rights movement who did risk quite a bit to say what's on their mind. And I'm not saying that LeBron is in the middle of a civil rights movement or anything like that, but I do give LeBron and was it Carmelo Anthony, who came out and they did use their voice to try and say something, to try and make, the world a little bit of a better place. Nothing against Jordan. I hear what you're saying, and I agree 1,000%. But if we're going to say that Jordan didn't do it and LeBron did, well, let's put LeBron in that category of other African-American athletes who did step out and go against it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jim Brown, and Muhammad Ali, right? Those were LeBron's idols, and sometimes that's the price you pay, right? If you're that rich and you're that famous, you have a platform, right? If LeBron was right here right now, I think we'd probably have a few more viewers, maybe 2 or 3, right? But he would have a bigger platform than you and I have, and you may not agree with it. Our viewers at home may not agree with it. But if you're going to speak out against racial injustice, if you're going to have that kind of millions of dollars of money, and you've got an opportunity to make some change or try to make some change, that's gutsy. And I'm sure he lost a lot of money. To your point, right? Jordan would not do that. Jordan was focused on his brand and all of that, and that's fine. I'm not judging one way or the other. But I am going to give LeBron props for speaking up and trying to be of that epsilon of Kareem, Muhammad Ali, so forth.
Let's say
Jim
what
Brown.
He said here is there's no racial component to it. He just talked about cities he didn't like. So I mean, comparing that, and I don't think comparing him to Jim Brown or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I don't think he fits in that category.
No, I don't think he does. I want to be perfectly clear with this. I don't think he does either, but it's clearly more so than Jordan. And I thought that was the context that we were talking about. Jordan versus LeBron. What are the differences? There's rings, there's brand, and then there's civil rights or just speaking out against in general. Now, maybe LeBron's got more of a platform because of Twitter and so forth, stuff like that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's with that category. I'm just saying he's more that way to try and back up your point, Gomes, that Jordan was all about his brand, all about him, and LeBron may have gone a little outside of that. And that's brave. And that's what I'm trying to say. I give him a little credit for doing that. I'm not saying he's Kareem. I'm not saying he's this great leader. But if you're going to compare it to Jordan, you're going to go rings. Jordan has more. Maybe social advocacy. LeBron has more.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think I do at all, honestly. Especially, I mean, you come out and you bash the people of Milwaukee, you bash the people in Memphis, bash the people of Cleveland. And again, I wasn't talking about racially components at all. When he came out and did the decision, awful, right? Especially the way he did it. He became the villain in the whole NBA throughout the nation. People didn't like him, and
he wore black, and he rode that villain for that full year.
I think again that's what I was talking to about brand. That he kind of played. I don't know. Jordan did a better job of not portraying himself as a villain, and and making smart Cleveland. Business decisions.
Like Jordan left, right? Did Jordan leave Chicago?
Eventually, he played Washington,
right? And Jordan wanted to beat Larry Bird. Jordan didn't want Larry Bird on his team, right? That was a different era where these guys are trying to beat each other. LeBron's in a different area where they're all trying to be on the same team. I think LeBron's a perfect example of that, right? Where he started following where's the best team going to be. So I think we're saying the same thing, just a different languages. I totally agree with you that he's not Muhammad Ali or anything like that, but he did use his power, his influence. I'm sure all those students in Northeast Ohio, right, Akron, his school, where he spent a lot of money for kids to go to college. It's good to see athletes doing good things with their money. I'm sure Jordan did as well. I'm sure he did as well. Nothing against it. Again, just in the context of comparing Jordan versus LeBron, we hear the rings things. We hear the championship things. We can talk about the records and stuff like that. All I'm saying is maybe it's because I'm a humanities history professor that being a human more than just a superstar, I think you should get some points for that. Again, nothing against Jordan. I'm sure he did it. But LeBron took maybe a few more risks than Jordan did. Now, if you want to talk about who I think is the better player, I'm sorry, it's not even close. Sorry, LeBron. Jordan was better.
Yeah, and talking about LeBron and the risks he took, I don't think he did well when he took them. I think he did a poor job. Again, nothing close to what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did or Jim Brown, and I frankly don't give him any points for it because I think he tried a few times and I think he failed miserably. But
he tried.
But when you fail,
he tried.
That's a big deal. Trying and failing, I think, is when you go into that avenue and failing, it doesn't work out too well. And like I said, it just hurts your brand and hurts how people see you. And I don't think that was necessary.
That's fair. I would say the exact opposite. I would say that trying is better than not trying at all.
But you can hurt a cause. You can hurt a cause, though. So when you go out and hurt.
Well, are we talking about a cause or are we talking about a brand?
You can hurt your brand. And you can do both.
Exactly. And I would put the cause over my brand any day of the week.
I'm saying though is he but that's like I said, I don't think he did a good job at any cause that he put out there. And I think he failed at it, frankly. And I don't think giving him props for that is warranted, honestly.
That's fair. Hey, you're allowed to have your opinion. Again, I work with students who don't have much money, and the fact that he gave over 1,000 students some money and a path forward. But I get it. It's an individual thing, and maybe this is one of those components outside of sports, right? Because that was my whole point when you were talking about comparing Jordan versus LeBron. You were going through the normal categories, and I said, well, maybe we ought to add one more. And that is, service to the community and stuff like that.
Well,
and it's difficult to judge, right? The 60s versus the 2000s. But again, you're right. Hey, man, just saying that could be a category to discuss. If you think it's an irrelevant, I understand because it is outside of sports.
Well,
but historically, right, those three gentlemen, Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Muhammad Ali made a lot of change, did a lot of good during the 60s. And clearly LeBron's not in the 60s. Just maybe a category to consider.
And I don't want to do Jordan wrong because I know he was big in the United Way. And I'm not familiar with all the charities that he donated to. I'm sure he donated to a lot as well. So
plus his Space Jam was better.
Yes, for sure.
Not even close. Now we are going through liquid libations here like crazy because we're going through all these Cleveland sports. Do you have anything else about the Cavs or LeBron? Cavs looking to go into the playoffs. LeBron worried that he's going to be traded to somewhere that he doesn't want to live. Anything else before we move on to what could be some of the biggest Browns news in the last couple of years?
Well, the biggest thing that I want to talk about was Miles Garrett, right? So in case anyone's out there, the Miles Garrett for the Browns restructured his contract, freed up some money under the salary cap, which made it a little bit easier for us to do some moves this year. And they restructured his when he was getting his bonuses. And a lot of people have been looking at this and thinking the Browns are going to trade Miles Garrett. And that was the reason why, is because they restructured when he's going to get those bonuses, and that was the biggest reason for it. So the biggest thing is are the Browns going to trade Miles Garrett?
Yeah, well, the move really doesn't make much sense. I mean, think about it, folks. If you're owed $11 million in April, and your boss comes to you and says, hey, how about we give you that $11 million in a couple months? And you say, yeah, sure, I don't need it. How many people would turn down $11 million or, hold off $11 million for like 3 months? Right, because Miles Garrett had to approve this change. That's the important thing that I'd like to bring to this table is Miles Garrett approved the change, right? And it was last March of 2025, Gome, when he did that 4-year, $160 million extension and kind of reinforced the no trade clause. So the only reason the Browns would do this is not an only reason. There's two reasons. You just said it, Go. They're going to free up some money in free agency. And since we're paying Deshaun Watson, little towel boy, all that money, right? We're not paying people for positions that we need, like wide receiver, like offensive line, like safety, maybe even cornerback or another linebacker. So it makes sense for the Browns, right, to have a little bit more cap money. But to Miles Garrett, pass at $11 million, the only benefit I can see there is if the Browns have another season like we've seen before, Gome. Picture this, Gome. After 5 games, the Browns are 1-4, but Dallas is 4-1. And Jerry Jones has come out recently on talk shows and saying how important it is for him to get one more Super Bowl before he kicks the bucket. Miles is from Texas. We've got a good relationship with Dallas Cowboys. Just to be clear, I don't think we should ever trade Miles Garrett. But I'm suggesting to you, Gome, that the Browns made this trade so that Garrett doesn't have to report to voluntary training camp, which he hasn't, right? It's voluntary. Even Monken said so. Hey, it's voluntary. I'd love for him to be here, but it's voluntary. But that was maybe part of the deal. Hey, Miles, let us give you the $11 million in a couple months. We'll let you skip the voluntary training camp. And if the Browns have another one of those terrible seasons where they're, like I said, 1-4, 1-5, and Dallas is looking to make a run, they tell Miles Garrett, we could get you home. Miles Garrett from North Texas, and bring Miles Garrett to Dallas Cowboys, get a haul for him, hopefully, right? 3 picks, 3 number 1 picks, and, use that to jump the Browns into the stratosphere. Gome, what do you think of that scenario?
Yeah, I think that scenario fits. And I think, the Browns were proposing a rule change, which they have since withdrawn, but they were trying to, right now you can only trade 3 years worth of draft picks, and they were trying to go up to 5. And this is probably why. They're probably trying to get as many draft picks as they could for Miles. And I'm assuming that's why. And a lot of people are talking about the trade, them trading him now. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think this year is going to be the year that it happens. But I should say right now, before the season starts. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, it could happen in the middle of the season, like with the scenario that you laid out. Yeah, possibly, for sure. I think it's more tangible, maybe next off season if we have another bad year. And I think I said this earlier. I think it's inevitable. I think that he will be traded at some point. I don't want to trade him. I do think it's inevitable that he will. Even before this, I said it's inevitable, because if the Browns keep having the seasons that they're having, they can't afford to not trade him. I'm one for say Jose, for instance, in the Guardians. I think it's important to keep him so you can build that image and build that lifelong legacy. But when it comes to Miles, he's just too good, and he's going to have a legacy. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But if we've been just kind of drowning and we've been kind of just having losing season after losing season, we need to trade him to get what we can out of him and get as many first-round picks as we can get, or players, or, look what happened when the Cowboys, you talk about the Cowboys, and the Cowboys traded Tony Dorsett to the Vikings, and they got Troy Aikman back, and they got all these draft picks that they drafted their Super Bowl teams with. And I'm not saying we're going to get 12 players, but this is what they need to do. If what the moves are making this year doesn't pan out, it needs to happen.
Well, and I think you've made some great points. My only caveat would be, and I think I'm nitpicking here, to be honest with you. Miles has been with us for 8 years, and not one winning season, maybe one. If we have another terrible season, and you're Miles Garrett, here's what I'm thinking. If I'm Miles Garrett, I'm the highest paid player. There's another quarterback controversy, and we're rebuilding, right? He's 31 years old? I hear you. I hear you about offseason. My only concern on that, and I'm not saying this is a deal breaker, I'm saying I think we could get more in the middle of the season for a team that thinks they're going to make a run before rather than the off season where Miles Garrett's another year older. And again, there's not necessarily a single team making a playoff run. Now, having said all of that, Gomer, I will stand next with you, behind you on the fact that you said Miles Garrett will have a legacy. You said Miles Garrett is guaranteed Hall of Fame. Then I don't want any other helmet on that guy's head. I don't want to see, Reggie White go from Philadelphia to Green Bay, and then Reggie White goes into the Hall of Fame with a Green Bay helmet on. How about that? I hear, bro, 3 first-round picks, right? That's what I heard about. Yeah, they wanted the 5 years. They wanted to get like a Micah Parsons deal. Why would you not want a Micah Parsons deal if Miles Garrett just won Defensive Player of the Year another time? And he got the sack record. He's valuable. I hear you, man. And I hear you. Boy, 3 first-round picks. But I'm sorry. I've got how many Browns jerseys of players that aren't on the Browns anymore and are not in the Hall of Fame? Give me Miles Garrett. Give me Joe Thomas. Let me see those orange helmets and no other helmets as they go into the Hall of Fame. You talk about building a legacy. You talk about building the team, right? Plus, they got that stadium in a couple years. You better be freaking good. And I bet you 3 first-round picks would help you get there. But maybe so would Miles Garrett. Because today, I think we all agree Miles Garrett is an absolute stud. And if I'm hearing you correctly, Gomes, your concern is that he's only going to be at the top of his game for so long. So trade him no later than the next offseason. Right? That's what I hear you saying? Love it. I hear where you're going. Here's where I'm coming. Gomes, do you think in 2026 the Browns are a playoff team?
No.
Then what are you keeping Miles Garrett for? If you're going to trade him in the offseason. If you're going to, remember, I don't want him to. I heard Gomes say he doesn't want to either. But if we're talking about this very legitimate question, if you don't think you're going to be a playoff team in 2026 and you're going to trade him in the offseason, why not trade him in the middle of the season? Maybe get a little bit more. That's a lot of what ifs, though. What do you think of?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I would hate to see him go into the Hall of Fame with a different, under a different banner. CC Sabathia going in as the Hall of Fame as a Yankee. That still hurts.
Perfect example. Thank you. Perfect example. How many years with Cleveland? But he came out so young. Remember that? He had plenty of, was this like 7 or 8 years in Cleveland? And then like 7 or 8 years in the Yankees because he was so young, right? And they bought him. And again, that goes back to our thing about how baseball is broken and how these medium market teams, I won't even call Cleveland a small market team. Maybe I'm wrong, but you're not going to keep anybody, right? Again, my boy Quan Gomer, right? Quan, are they going to pay him? No. He's going to get paid a buttload, so I'm going to enjoy Quan in the outfield this offseason until maybe they trade him in the middle of the season, just like we were talking about Miles Garrett, to try and get a better trade. Hate to trade the good players. I want Miles Garrett in the Hall of Fame with that orange helmet. But Gomes, if it gets you 3 first-rounders and it gets you to the Super Bowl, if it gives you Troy Aikman, was that Michael Irving and Emmitt Smith, right? Those 3 all came like in the first year?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hope he doesn't go, right? And I feel like with him on the defense, we are a Super Bowl contending team as long as we can fix our offense, right? And I think that's going to happen. And the thing is the same thing with the Pirates and Paul Skeens, right? Like they haven't traded him yet, and I rightfully so, because when you go to the draft, this is who you hope that you're drafting is a Skeens or Miles Garrett.
Amen.
And so for them to give up on that and then say we're going back to the draft and trying 3 more times to get that same player when it doesn't happen but once in a generation, it's tough, right? When you have that generational player, it's tough to swallow. I hope they don't do it. I hope he stays here forever, and we eventually fix the offense that we have. But you never know, right? You don't know. I certainly don't know what's going to happen this year, especially at the quarterback situation. I feel bad for him. But at the same time, he's getting paid a buttload of money, so I don't feel too bad for him, I guess.
No, for real. No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you on that. You said you wanted out. We paid you. But I believe it also made him harder to trade until this move happened. And Miles Garrett approved it. And that's all I'm saying. I'm saying I don't know either. I don't have my crystal ball. But something tells me the Browns went to him and said, hey, man, if you'll just wait a couple months, we'll have more money to have a better team. I'll tell you what. You are one of the best players in the NFL. Joe Thomas started skipping voluntary practices his last couple of years. Remember that? And Joe never missed a game. So, again, maybe it's a little bit of a deal, right? Like, we'll give you a couple days off. Give us this $11 million. We'll make a better team. And here's my point, Gomes. And if the Browns have another terrible season and somebody comes calling, we've already got this taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a good prediction, and I'm looking forward to see it. I think it's a possibility. I hope that we're not 1-4, but you never know. You never know.
But when you think about blue chip players, right, on the Browns, Gomes, how many offense and defense? How many blue chip players do you see?
Oh, offense and defense. Oh, not many. Not many.
No, I count, and I'm not trying to talk over you, right? But I count 2. Miles Garrett and Denzel Ward. And now, listen, I like Fanning, right? You know I like Fanning.
Oh, yeah.
I've been telling you about that for a while. Like Judkins, even though he's hurt, I got faith, man. I saw Adrian Peterson and Nick Chubb come back from devastating injuries. I think Judkins will come back. I wouldn't mind having Love, though. How about that? Jordan Love and Judkins? I don't care what your offensive line is. Look at these 2 studs. Who's your quarterback? Don't care. Hand off. Fanning, right? Or, the Browns met with the Oregon tight end. Have you heard about him, the Oregon tight end in this year's draft? By far, number 1, hands down tight end. That shouldn't surprise you. But what surprised me is that his numbers were off every category, off the charts. So put him in Cleveland where he doesn't have the pressure because he already had Fanning. Fanning had a great year. Have a running game. Can you get a wide receiver? Right? And an offensive line, and now you've got something cooking with the offense, and you don't even need to throw the ball that far because you got Judkins, you would have Love, maybe a good wide receiver because it's deep this year in wide receivers. Gomes, I'm ready. Give me the GM job. I'll bring you in as my assistant. Don't worry, man. We'll both retire in the Bahamas.
I like it. There's a lot of what ifs right now with the Browns, right? I mean, looking over these mock drafts. I mean, I have, we'll say Mel Kiper taking Monroe Freeling in the first, the 6th pick, and 24.
The number 1 left tackle, Monroe Freeling.
And number 24 taking Mekhi Lemon from the wide receiver out of USC. And then
considered the 2nd best wide receiver.
Well, then you look at a different mock draft, and you have the from ESPN, you have them picking Mekhi Lemon at number 6. And there's a lot of people saying that he's the number 1 wide receiver in the draft.
I hear that. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
No, I just say Carnell Tate's been he's been dropping in a lot of not a lot, but at least some of the mock drafts he's been dropping. Something about the combine, maybe he didn't measure well or something. I don't know exactly. Maybe he didn't interview well.
He didn't do all the skills at the combine, and I understand that. And I've heard a lot of the mock drafts. Real quick, if you don't mind, Mekhi, yes, I've heard he's really good, and he could be the number 1. I hear you. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and give him number 1, Mekhi Lemon. Here's why I want Tate. Tall, professional, knows the weather.
Yeah, I mean, Tate is, I always like to have the tall wide receiver. I never understand why people don't try to get the tall wide receiver. But
well, and then you got to start thinking about what position, right? He is a classic X receiver, right? Your number 1 receiver, right? Where Mekhi Lemon, I think, is more of a 1 or 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gomes. It looks like you're looking at the screen. Mekhi Lemon might be like a Y or a 2 wide receiver. I also like Branch. from Georgia who was hurt. We might get him in the second or third round. There's your slot. So a dream pick for me is give me Tate at 6. Give me an offensive lineman. Monroe Freeling is the number 1 left tackle, although the guy from Alabama seems to be really good. And I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to say I think that's where the Browns are so calm. Because either at 6 or at 24, they're going to get either Monroe Freeling from Georgia, stud left tackle. He's only a junior, right, Gome? And he's a beast. And we've got a great offensive line coach. Monken took the guy from Baltimore. There are a lot of offensive linemen. We got 4 offensive linemen. Draft me some depth. Give those guys a year or 2 so we can replace the guys we got. Give me a left tackle, either the guy from Alabama or Monroe Freeling, like you were saying, number 6. A wide receiver. And then, then it's best player available. Which brings me back to a lot of mock drafts, Gome. I don't know if you've seen this. Monroe Freeling at 6 is pretty high. Carnell Tate at 6 might be high, but he might already be gone. And as you said, there are plenty of wide receivers. I would like Carnell Tate, but if it's Mekhi Lemon, hey, Mekhi Lemon, welcome to Cleveland. We love you already, right? But we need offensive linemen. We need wide receivers. And I'm going to throw one more out there for you. Give me defensive line. Give me one more defensive line or a stud linebacker next to Schlesinger. What if we had a stud Ohio State linebacker? Was that Sonny Styles?
Yeah.
Going? What if we had Sonny Styles next to Carson Schlesinger in the middle of the field for the next 5 years?
Well, I keep hearing this name too. For when you mentioned linebacker, I've been hearing this name for the second or third round, Kyle Lewis. I've been hearing that he's one of those guys that the Browns could pick up, and then he could be a monster. He fits our system, and that he could be like the Schlesinger pick for this year. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yes, in the second round, right, Gome? So you're talking about pick 39, so we can still get an offensive left tackle and a wide receiver, and then get your boy.
Yeah, and I've been hearing you say about the guy from Alabama, Caden Proctor. I've been hearing a lot about him too.
Yep.
I've been hearing a lot about him, and I don't know. Like I said, you look at it, it's tough to say where the Browns are going to go. I ultimately do think, and I don't want to give away too much because I will have my own mock draft in the next episode.
Whoa, the next episode. You heard it here, folks. Gomer's very first mock draft. Next episode.
That's right. I mean, hey, these guys aren't getting it right, so it's like being a mailman. If you're wrong, or a weatherman, I'm sorry. It's like being a weatherman. If you're wrong, no one cares. Because it's
well, especially in Northeast Ohio and Southwest Florida. You don't like the weather.
Right,
Wait a minute.
Exactly. But I do ultimately think the Browns are going to trade down and probably, not up, down, but end up with one of these tackles that they don't know.
Who are they going to trade?
Oh,
with?
I don't know who yet.
Can I give you a name?
Dallas.
Can I give you a name?
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin it for you.
Dallas has got 2 picks. We've got 2 picks, right? We're 6-24. Dallas is what? 12-20? 12-20. Go. That's what I want you to focus on. 12-20. Can we get a stud wide receiver or stud offensive lineman at 12?
Oh, yeah, we could, for sure.
Can we get a stud wide receiver or offensive lineman at 20?
Oh, yeah.
I say yes.
I mean, Maui Noah should still be available at 12. And
Maui Noah had a visit to Berea, didn't he?
I think so. I don't know.
I think he did. I think they've been bringing in some of the big boys, right? But they're also bringing in these defensive guys. So I just want to remind you and our folks back home, the Browns last year got 4 starters from their rookie class. This year, we have 3 picks in the top 39, 4 picks in the top 70. Gomer, you got 4 picks in the top 70. How many should be starters?
Well, they all should be, right?
Then that's 4 plus 4. That's 8 starters in 2 years. There's only 11 guys on the field at one time. That's how Andrew Berry saves his job.
But I also do want to point out at number 12, another person that the Browns have spoken to at least, and that will probably be available at 12, is Ty Simpson.
Nope.
I only said it because I knew it make you mad. That's the only reason I said it. That's the only reason I said it.
Did you? Because I don't think we've talked that much about it. But yes, I am. No.
I do want to say about the quarterback situation because I've given Shedeur a lot of flack. Monken did come out and say that he's been in the building all offseason working, so I give him props for that. I do have a quick prediction. We probably have to wrap things up, but I do have a quick prediction for the quarterback situation this next year. My prediction is that Watson starts, and then Shedeur comes in and takes over, and then they cut Watson. That's my ultimate prediction.
Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. I can see that. It makes a lot of sense on paper. Watson, the veteran. And listen, I think you and I are on the same page. Correct me if I'm wrong. Give Shedeur the shot. Give him the shot. That's why I'm saying no to Ty Simpson. Right? Give Shedeur. You got enough heads in that quarterback room right now. And what are the odds? The Browns are still not going to draft, someone in the 5th round. That's what teams usually do, right? They take a flyer on the 5th round because who knows, you may get Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Right? So that's 4 guys. And I did hear Shedeur has been in Berea a lot. And Deshaun a little bit. But Dylan Gabriel, almost up until very recently, I was hearing he wasn't in Berea at all. And that was causing a lot of concern, right? Because maybe he'll follow Kevin Stefanski and the offensive coordinator over to Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's tough because it's the off season. But what he's been doing, I don't know. But
that's how you become number one, right? You stay in the off season, you're showing up, you're practicing.
Yeah,
that's how you become number one, right? I'm just saying that I think you and I are on the same page that we're like, give Deshaun the ball, or not Deshaun, sorry, give Shedeur the ball. He's earned it. And there's nothing better coming this. Give him a chance. Hey, you know what? Maybe give him an offensive line. How good was Shedeur's offensive line last year?
Sorry. It was okay. It wasn't terrible, but yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
I think it was one of the worst.
Well, I mean, they still gave him. I mean, they were still giving him time to throw the ball, and he didn't. He panicked and.
Oh, and he missed people. I'm sorry to talk. Absolutely, he missed people. Absolute rookie, 5th round.
Well, like I said, I mean, like I told you earlier too. Like the news I was hearing coming out of Shedeur was that he wasn't studying and wasn't doing the work. And that's one of the big reasons why I'm not on the bus for him. But maybe if he stayed in Berea and put in the work this offseason, hopefully we see it, but I haven't been impressed with him so far, but maybe he'll come through and do it.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. The only reason I'm backing Shedeur this year is because I don't see anything better. I don't. Ty Simpson, listen, brother, nothing against you. Ty Simpson has ties to Todd Monken and, did play at Alabama, but he played for 1 year. He got hurt. His numbers fell off. And it seems like Ty Simpson is being smart in coming out this year versus next year, where he may be the 5th or 6th quarterback. You would agree, Gomes, we're talking about him in 2026 being the number 2 quarterback. I think it's smart by Ty. I wish him nothing but the best. We got enough of a quarterback circus here. And if we can get 4 more starters in this year's draft, let's Peyton Manning had 18 interceptions and 19 touchdowns his rookie year. And I saw Shedeur. Hey man, I'll go all day long on Shedeur missing wide open people and throwing to double coverage. 5th round draft pick.
Well, and that's why you say there's no one better out there, and I would disagree with that. I did think that there's plenty of people. There has been a lot of quarterbacks out there that are better. I don't think think the Browns are willing to make the investment in that, because I feel like they already have so much money at the quarterback position. But there's been, I mean, I would have taken Kirk Cousins over Shador, Malik Willis. I mean, anybody that's been signed this offseason.
Oh, wow. I would not have taken Malik Willis at all. I got to disagree with you. I love you, bro. Right, but I would not take Malik Willis.
Tua. I would have taken who was the other quarterback?
Gosh, no.
Kyler Murray. I would have taken any of those guys over Shador. You say better. I think all of those guys were better than Shador.
Better, yes. Today.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is on the back end. Kyler Murray, I don't think you and I talked about this from day one. He's going to Minnesota. That's his system. He's fine. My point is that although, in my opinion, and Malik Willis, no effing way. That guy has the same physical traits, almost the exact same numbers as Shador. Malik didn't get good until he was with LaFleur in Green Bay, right, for half a season. So give Shador more than half a season, and maybe I don't. You're right. I don't think he's that good, but compared to the other people that you said, and I respectfully disagree. No way. Kirk Cousins has only got a year or two, and then he's out. So he's not the full time. He's not the official. The long-term answer. Sorry, that's what it was. He's not the long-term answer. And Malik Willis is too much of a risk. Who'd you say? Tua? I'm sorry, man. I've been in Florida these last few years. Tua. I challenge you. I don't want to, because I know you'll do it, but please do. Tua's teammates said that Tua goes to the check down right away. He's Glass. Was that Glass Joe? Remember Iron Mike Tyson? Was that Glass Joe? Right? Was one of the first guys that you fought. He's Glass Joe, man. He's Glass Joe. He can't. I don't think he's going to be healthy. I love you, bro, but I just respectfully disagree. Kirk Cousins would have been a good bridge quarterback. Kyler Murray's got to save his career. He's not going to do it in Cleveland. Ty Simpson played one season, and after he got hurt, he didn't look good. Give Shador some time. Give him a running game, a tight end, and an offensive line with a strong defense.
Well, and that's what I've been hearing about. I've been hearing about give him time and, give him a better line and all this stuff. But it's just I haven't seen it on the field. People are going nuts over him, and to me, he hasn't shown that he's going to be that guy. You said all those guys are better now, but they're not going to be better in the future. I don't see the evidence that he's going to be better in the future. Maybe he will. I don't know. But and especially hearing about like when he comes out and says, his dad says that he never learned anything by not being on the field, and when he comes out his first game, you could tell he did very little work. And I'm not blaming Stefanski with the first snap thing or the first team snaps, because Monken also came out and said whoever's a starter is getting the first team snaps and no one else is getting the first team snaps. And I think that was smart to say that, because Stefanski went out and he created opportunities for Shador to learn last year. And not a lot of people are giving him credit for that. But I don't think that he did the work going into while he was on the bench. I don't think he did the work. And then hearing that he wasn't watching game film, he didn't know how to watch game film, just really kind of gives me pause. The fact, again, that Monken come out and said that he's been in Berea and working, okay, this makes me feel a little bit better about him. I do think he'll be a quarterback for this year, but at some point at least. But I don't know. It's up in the air right now for me. I can't say that he's going to be better than any of those guys that I mentioned. I don't know.
But that's why we're here, isn't it, bud? Right? Just what are you thinking? What are you seeing? Right? I respect your opinion. I see where Kirk Cousins, I think, was the strongest one out of that. But would you agree or disagree? Wherever Kirk Cousins is playing, that's a bridge quarterback.
Yeah, and right now I view the quarterbacks that we have in our quarterback room as bridge quarterbacks as well. Because everyone's been talking about the 2027 QB draft and how many great quarterbacks that there are, and like I said, I feel the Browns are just kind of playing time until that draft, and so we can get a quarterback. And then maybe Shedeur will do something in the meantime. It's kind of how I feel like they're playing it right now.
Well, no, I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I started with, do you think they're when we were talking about Miles Garrett, do you think they're a playoff team? And I would 100%, my opinion would be the reason they're not a playoff team is because I believe, I'm saying it, Shedeur is the best answer. And that's not that great of an answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the only difference where you and I disagree is that you think there's these other people. I hear you, bro. I don't think so. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we're going to spend money and draft picks in other areas. And just to bring it all back around to you, sir, you said the 2027 draft, if you've got a quarterback in there that you really like, then, you go in for there. And that actually brings me back to the Dallas trade, my friend. We have 6 and 24. They have, 12 and 20. Let's do a switch and get their second round pick next year. I know it's not a first round. But 2 second rounds and a first round to move up to get the quarterback, and then maybe next year's first. You said the Browns did. They did propose that 5 years. They also pulled it off the table at the last minute. But every NFL insider says that when these major rule changes come, there's a pattern, right? First, it gets introduced and gets annihilated. And then, the owners think about it over and over again. I think the Browns were thinking about, can we package a deal plus the next 2 or 3 first-round draft picks to get their stud quarterback? Now, as I say that, I realize you have too many holes, Cleveland. You cannot give up another 3 years of first-round draft picks for a quarterback. You got too many holes. You're never going to make it, and you're going to waste Miles Garrett, and you're going to waste Denzel Ward.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really anxious. We are 2 weeks out from the draft. I'm really anxious to see what the Browns can pull off there and what they're going to do. Like I said, if they're going to trade down, if they're going to trade up, or if they're going to stay pat, and who they're going to pick and what positions. I can't wait. Like I said, next week we'll come out. I'll have my own little mock draft, and we'll see. Well, then after the draft, we'll compare my mock draft to Kuiper or Todd McShay or whatnot. So,
and then you will see Gomer on ESPN 2 days later saying, "Look at how well I destroyed these experts." That's right. Show them the guns, buddy. I love it. I'm excited for your draft. I'm excited for baseball. I'm excited to see if the Cavs can beat the Hawks in the regular season and then in the playoffs and be all jacked up to beat the Pistons. There's some good things coming from Cleveland sports. Remember, anybody that's been drinking with me or watching sports with me, we celebrate Cleveland sports in the first quarter because we don't usually want to remember the fourth.
Well,
or ninth inning. My God.
Right.
The Rays down here, every time Cleveland comes to play the Rays, they will. I will go to one game, and that is the one game the Rays will defeat Cleveland in the bottom of the ninth. It's crazy. Ooh, call Vegas.
There you go. Make some money off of yourself.
Smarter, not harder, kids.
Well, anyways, I think that'll do it for us. This is Happy Hour in the Land. I'm Gomer. That's the professor. We're going to see you next week. We're going to talk more about the draft because that's in 2 weeks from now. So we'll be talking about it next week. All right. See you guys. See ya.
Thanks.